Imagine a world where rules are set by unbreakable game theory. That's the core idea in Bryan Solstin's book, Bitcoin and Nash Equilibrium, The Emerging Bitcoin Equilibrium. Solstin reveals Bitcoin not just as an investment, but as a game-theoretic masterpiece, a system that makes its own success inevitable. He calls it an immortal Nash Equilibrium, meaning it is a stable state that becomes strategically inevitable for the world. Whether you're an investor or developer, this connects the dots between Nobel Prize winner John Nash and Satoshi Nakamoto. Today we'll summarize the main points, the history, and the key lessons from this powerful and timely book. Let's start with context. John Nash was a brilliant mathematician whose work on game theory earned him the Nobel Prize. His Nash Equilibrium describes a situation where no player can improve their outcome by changing their own strategy. It's the stable point where rational self-interest locks everyone in place, a game theory anchor for human behavior. Later in life, Nash became obsessed with what he called ideal money and asymptotically ideal money. He criticized fiat currencies because they are controlled by manipulative central authorities that debase their value. He envisioned a currency with a fixed, predictable supply that would evolve through competition toward perfect stability. Money that resists inflation, political interference, and arbitrary debasement, a tool for true economic freedom. He even hinted at an immortal Nash Equilibrium, an unbreakable, eternal stable state for human cooperation. Enter 2008. The global financial crisis exposes fiat flaws, and Satoshi Nakamoto publishes the Bitcoin white paper. Solstin argues this timing is no coincidence. Bitcoin's design perfectly matches Nash's vision of ideal money. The 21 million cap and the halving schedule drive Bitcoin's inflation asymptotically towards zero over time. Decentralized proof-of-work consensus creates a system where the best response for every player is simply to play along. So what are the book's core arguments? First, Bitcoin isn't just technology, it's a strategic equilibrium. In the game of money, miners, holders, and users all have their incentives perfectly aligned with the network. No single player, whether a nation-state or a corporation, can unilaterally defect and win against the network. Attacking the network costs far more than it gains. Forking fails because the original chain holds the economic weight. Using fiat becomes the losing strategy as Bitcoin's scarcity and reliability outcompete inflationary money. Solstin calls this the emerging Bitcoin equilibrium, a self-reinforcing standard of value that grows every day. Second, Solstin traces the hidden connections between Nash's early breakthroughs and Satoshi's implementation. He walks readers through how Bitcoin operationalizes Nash's focus on ideal money through code and math. Proof of work replaces central trust with mathematical certainty. It is security backed by the laws of physics. Decentralized consensus prevents any one entity, no matter how powerful, from manipulating the supply. The result? An immortal Nash equilibrium, a stable outcome so robust it feels eternal, just as Nash described. The book doesn't claim Nash was Satoshi, but it shows that the intellectual lineage is absolutely unmistakable. Third, Solstin contrasts this with alternatives like Ethereum, which he argues introduce points of centralization. He argues flexible supply and human governance introduce points of manipulation that violate the Nashian ideal. Bitcoin is rigid by design. Its rules are the equilibrium. Once adoption hits a critical mass, the game is over. Adoption becomes inevitable, not because of hype, but because rational players have no better strategic move. The book is concise, perfect for anyone who wants the why behind Bitcoin's resilience without the technical jargon. It reveals the strategic inevitability. Bitcoin wins not by force, but by the laws of game theory. What should you take away? Lesson 1. Understand money as a game with specific, winnable rules. Solstin teaches you to see Bitcoin as the rational, dominant strategy in the global monetary game. Once you grasp Nash Equilibrium, you realize why fiat systems are unstable and why Bitcoin's rules create alignment. Lesson 2. Adoption is inevitable, so align yourself early before the equilibrium fully settles. Whether you're an individual or a nation building reserves, holding Bitcoin is the rational equilibrium move. Staying in fiat will cost you in purchasing power and sovereignty. It is a strategically losing position. Lesson 3. Bitcoin delivers individual sovereignty and better long-term economic outcomes for everyone. It encourages long-term thinking, thrift, and real productivity, exactly what Nash's ideal money called for. It resists censorship, inflation, and political control. It is the ultimate financial ripcord for the digital age. It even ties into environmental solutions, using energy efficiently and creating decentralized incentives for the planet. Bitcoin isn't a revolution of force. It's a revolution of rational self-interest that no one can stop. Bryan Solstin's book is a must-read for anyone serious about understanding the future of money. It bridges game theory and history to show why this digital asset isn't going anywhere. It's the new standard. If you want to understand why Bitcoin's resilience is strategic and not accidental, pick up this book today. Read it, Think through the incentives and ask yourself, in the game of money, which side of the equilibrium are you on? Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.